today?
I'm doing really, really good today, and I'm really excited. I know you are too.
I definitely am excited. I know we just watched a live reveal about the Garrett Apex, and now we're just going to kind of talk about what we heard and see what everybody else thinks. So we kind of held off a little bit today so that we could do our coffee with Kellyco a little bit later in the day, just so that we could hear the big announcement that was made from Garrett.
And I have switched out my coffee for tea, but I want to show you my cup today. Nobody cares about this. They want to get to the juice of Apex, but I have my fun cup here that says Mad Genius. It's not true. I'm not a genius, but I am mad.
Awesome. You are mad, right?
Yeah, I know.
Crazy
So,
mad.
how excited are you to talk about this? The Apex, it's out, all the waiting. Holy cow, the features. What are you feeling right now?
I'm pumped. I'm excited. I think that I was hoping that I would have to get a new detector after watching this. And as I casually mentioned to everybody in the office, I do. I would accept it as a nice wedding gift. So, yeah, I'm definitely excited about the Apex.
Well, I think that's unfair that you have such a big thing going on in your life because I don't have anything other than a birthday, and I don't know if anyone's going to get me one.
I don't know. How about you get me one and I get you one?
Ah, we'll
There we
trade.
go.
Okay, there we go. No, that's great. No, I think you're right. And just honestly, from looking at the comments during the live stream, there was so many people that were excited for this. You have
Yes.
this huge following from Garrett, or for Garrett, I should say, that American made. They followed the product for a long time. And when we get into the details, I know Carolyn, you're going to start sharing the
Yes.
page that Garrett launched and kind of go into the technical specs, maybe what they might mean, and break that down for us. I think you guys are going to see that Garrett has done a really good job of packing the technology, but also listening to the customer and providing what they want. So this is really exciting. I'm excited to see what you're going to show us.
Yeah, I'm gonna get to that in just a minute, but one of the things that they did say is, they're just reestablishing the ACE series. They listened, they watched. Everybody
Mm-hmm.
thought that Garrett was just sitting back. No, they weren't just sitting back. They were sitting back. They were looking at ways to improve on different compared to the other new detectors on the line. And I
Yeah.
think they packed it all into one machine, and I'm really excited. I'm excited not just for this particular model, but for
Mm-hmm.
what Garrett is going to reveal in the future because it's a huge step for Garrett.
That's a good point, Carolyn, about when the word ACE was mentioned.
Hmm.
There might have been a feeling that some of us had that, oh, this is going to be a really low end, like considered a beginner kids machine. But just wait, like when you see, yes, it has in the ACE family, it's actually almost in its own tier. When you look at the features, you look at where it falls in. I think it's just the big brother to the ACE that actually competes with a lot of very popular models in the market. So we can kind of make those comparisons to other machines that we see, and you'll see
Absolutely.
it's not exactly at the lower tier at all.
No, not at all. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull up Garrett's webpage so that we can go ahead and take a look at this. So here it is. You can go to garrett.com/sport/ace/apex. And I mean, just look at this detector. A very sleek new design as compared to the big bulky box that the Ace detectors had. The raised
Beautiful.
buttons, everybody loves the raised buttons.
Hmm.
And as you can see up here, the key point on this machine, multi-flex, multi-frequency technology.
What does
That's
that mean?
huge. That
Is
is
that
huge.
and that's not single selectable, right? That is
No.
simultaneous.
Yes. And the cool thing about it is you can put it into single frequency in 5, 10, 15, or 20 kilohertz. And then they
Wow.
have the simultaneous multi-frequency. You got the MF and then you got the MS. The stands for saltwater. So they took those two different types of multi-frequency and made one good for land hunting and one for saltwater. That's amazing. I
Hey,
mean,
Carolyn, I know we are really excited to just keep going in, but I did want to say, you gave me this job a long time ago to look at the chat. We probably
yes.
should take a quick second and answer some of these chat questions. If you don't have it up, I can start reading them out.
Yeah, go ahead, bring it up, Mark, because I got this up
Okay.
on here.
I know you have the whole screen taken over. So let's see here. Let's start from the beginning. Um, let's see. Tell me, this is an Equinox 800 versus Apex. Aren't they the same specs?
That I mean, I haven't had it in my hand. I
Yeah,
haven't tested it. I've tested the Equinox. The Equinox is an amazing machine. But I mean, there's some features that are in this machine that are amazing. And I mean, the 800, it's waterproof. The Apex is weatherproof, but the coil is waterproof. So I mean, and there's a big difference in pricing. You're talking about almost $400 in price difference. So I mean, like the other machine that came out on the market that we've discussed, the Simplex. It's $339.15. It's hard to compare it to an
yeah.
Equinox, an AT Max. It's hard to compare it to that because every detector has something different and it is at a lower price point. But what this detector has, even compared to the current A series, is amazing. I haven't done a side by side with it. I haven't even touched one of these. So, I mean, I can't really compare it to the 800 without knowing.
Well, that's a good point, and you're right. A lot of these questions, I know we're all excited. We're probably going to ask things that we don't have the machine yet, but
Yeah.
I will get to the next one from Patrick Huntley. Sorry, we just answered Patrick. My bad. So Patrick, I hope that helped, and we'll give you more as we get it. Mark Duncan, great name, Mark, spelled with the K, the right way to do it. So what does everyone think? I think the multi-frequency is awesome, but is it worth $200 more?
Oh, heck yeah. I mean, when you get into multi-frequency machines, I mean, they're amazing. They're more powerful, they're more stable. The Ace series has been around for a long time. It's an excellent beginner machine. And you can use that machine and you can use that machine for a couple of years without having to upgrade. I mean, they're great machines, but having the latest, newest technology, it's going to be better for detecting all around. You're going to be able to find, you're going to be able to find things that you might not find with a single frequency machine. It just makes it a
That's,
more stable all around detector.
and that salt water, like you said earlier,
Yes.
that's going to be huge. I know you're an avid Garrett user. You love Garrett, but you also have been, fair in saying that there's other machines that
Yep.
tend to have better stability, less chatter on the beach. So that alone, I am so excited. I hope
Me
we can get
too.
our hands on this. And I have two quick questions, and I know we can get back to the website to go over the features. This is a pretty important one. When will it become available for sale, and can we pre-order through Kellyco?
Now, I do know that they said that they're expecting these to ship in July of 2020. So
Mm-hmm.
that's what we've gotten. We don't have an exact date. As far as pre-orders, that's something that we're definitely working on.
That's right.
Um,
I think, Carolyn, in fact, we should have that up by today that I'm hearing. So as
okay.
far as the pre-orders go, we will definitely have that up today. We'll post an announcement on our social channels. It will be on our website. So definitely stay tuned because we should plan to have those pre-orders available today.
Awesome. I might have to
And
get my name on that list first.
I thought we had a deal that you're going to buy
Oh,
mine. I'm going to buy.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, forgot about that, Mark.
And I can maybe get an employee discount. We'll see. How much more, or we might have to keep going off of these questions because they're so good. How much more ergonomic comfort ability from Ralph? Sorry, Ralph. I'm going to just say you're the junior. How much more ergonomic comfortability versus the MX Sport do you think this Apex has?
I mean, the way that this is, its designed is similar to. I mean, it looks pretty similar to what we got here on the AT Max. If you look at it right here, I mean, it's just the sleeker box, and I mean, I could swing
Yeah.
this detector all day long without an issue. I like it. I don't like some of the other machines how it's kind of
Mhm.
more straight out. I kind of like the bend, the curve. I could swing these longer without any issues. So
And what is that grip like? Is that remember they used to have the foam grip? Do you
yes,
prefer that
no,
new
yeah,
grip?
Yeah, this is a lot better because it's when you're out, I like to get out in the woods. I get out there where it's down and dirty, and the old grip is very spongy, and
Yeah.
it tends to wear out a lot easier. I haven't worn mine out on my AT Max yet.
And it'll soak up all
So,
that water, I'm sure, and make it heavier. So I
yep,
think ergonomics, you're going to find with that sleek design, 2.5 pounds.
it's
Look, I even
crazy.
paid attention. I think it's going to be quite ergonomic and easy to swing. But again, until we get our hands on it, this is just us predicting. Another great question from Whale and Joy is how much will this cost?
Well, based on what we heard in the reveal, Steve Moore said that it's going to be about $425 in the US, and that's going to be without your MS3 headphones. With your MS3, he said it's going to be about $492. So,
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I think there's still there was that 425 sale price price point that was thrown out there. And what is it exactly? 424.95. If you go by the
right.
traditional margins, we'll get all the firmed up details, and it will be on that pre-order page today. But I think that is a great question because where does this fall in line with the A series? Where does it fall in line with other detectors? Carolyn, do you have any sense, with the other machines, Ace 400 to Simplex, Equinox 600, is it in that perfect middle area?
Oh yeah, definitely. This is definitely going to be the higher end of the beginner machines, and compared to some other detectors on the market, those mid-level machines, this might actually outperform. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, if you compare it to the two other new detectors that dropped recently, I mean, you've got the MindLab Vanquish. It's got the
Mm-hmm.
waterproof coil. It's water and it's weatherproof. The 540 Pro Pack does have the Bluetooth technology. So that's kind of comparable. It's multi-frequency as well with 3 frequencies as compared to 4 frequencies. And then you've got the Simplex. There's been a huge and the Pro Pack for the Vanquish is 499. Then you've got the Simplex that came out with the wireless headphones. That's 339.15. That's waterproof with Bluetooth headphones, wireless headphones. Um, Really, I mean, they're in the same market, but it all depends on where you're detecting, what you're looking for, which one to go with. I mean, the features that are in this, the new coil, I love the new coil design. I love the fact that it's multi-frequency. You could switch out of frequencies as well. The iron audio feature on it, that's one of my favorite features.
Oh, yeah.
And so I mean it's falling right in there, but
Yeah.
it's packed with features, really packed with features.
So
So
I mean, we have a lot of questions, but if you want to continue, you talked about the coil. You're on the site right now. I know they have multiple images there, and then we can keep going through these specific features just to inform everyone. Of course, you can also follow along and go to Garrett's website. You can go to our website when the page is up. This is going to be. I'm just so excited. I can't wait to see what you think and talk about these features right now.
yeah, the new coil, the Viper coil. First thing, if you have an Ace, your Ace coils are not going to be compatible with the new Apex, and that's going to be because of the multi-frequency. It's running on, by the time you look at it all, it's 48 frequencies that this coil is built for. Completely different from any of the Aces out there, so they wouldn't be interchangeable. But the new design, most Garrett's typically come with the 8.5 by 11 inch coil. I run the 5 by 8 coil. Love that coil. I couldn't even tell you the last time I had my stock coil on my AT Pro or AT Max. The new 6 by 11 inch coil. I mean, it's great. It's great. It's going to give you the depth that you want. It's sleek, just like the 5 by 8. I love those smaller coils, but you're still going to get that 11 inches. So I'm really excited about the new shape and size of the coil.
And what specifically about the coil was said on that video? I know that it was almost taking two popular versions of the coil and making a new size. What is that going to do? Is it get into areas better and find
Yeah,
targets better?
yeah, because when you look at the traditional bigger coil, it's wider. So you take that, and then I use the 5x8 because it's small, narrow. This is going to give you the depth because it's longer, 11 inches, but it's narrow. So you can get in between those. If you're out in a field and you got the corn stubble, you want to get in between, or if you're in the woods and you're trying to get in between all the brush or underneath bushes, in between bleachers. I like the thinner design, and it really does take the two coils. They're most popular, the 8.5 and the 5x8 coil.
That's great. Oh, that's exciting. And you
Absolutely.
said that's fully waterproof on the coil alone,
Yes.
whereas the
Yes.
machine was, would they use rainproof?
Rainproof. Yes. Rainproof.
Okay, that's a good distinction. You don't want to dunk your whole unit in when it's just the coil and the shaft, obviously.
Absolutely. And then like moving on, I mean, we talked about the multi-frequency. Another thing that they noticed, I just mentioned was the audio. I love the iron audio feature because sometimes you get that big hunk of metal and you're not necessarily hunting in an old area, or you're looking for different types of things, and they're highly conductive, so it gives you that high tone. Using that iron audio, or even on like in the on the beach, I've used it because the bottle caps tend to get rust on the outside of them. So if I want to distinguish between it, hitting that iron audio goes from that high tone. If you hear that those grunt noises, it's a
Yeah.
great indication of what's in the ground. I like the fact that you can now adjust the audio, because I do like hearing the iron in the ground because the iron tells the story. But sometimes you get into an area and it's just all you're doing is hearing grunt, 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 grunt. So rather than, sacrificing, throwing the discrimination up, just lowering that volume a little bit so you're not hearing all those grunts as loud. I think that's a really excellent feature, and they said that there's 8 different settings, adjustments for the volume for the iron. So that's really good. And it's also the iron features in it are both proportional and binary, so we can actually hear those faint signals. That's something that I like using on my AT Max, is because sometimes you hear a really faint signal and it's a deeper target. So that's awesome.
That's really great. And was there any other things with the audio side? Not just a hybrid audio, like you said, with the binary benefits, but was there any other high resolution or different channels at all? I know we could probably get to those specifications later. I know they said
Yeah.
also the 5 tones.
Yes, the 5 tones. That's pretty. Let's see. You got your There's the 5 tones in it. It's probably gonna it's the high tone, the mid tone, the low tone, the
Yep.
iron tone, so that you can distinguish it. The other thing that I like about this machine is it follows, the traditional. I mean, there will be a little bit of getting used to the machine, but it does follow the traditional number settings if you are looking at the VDIs, on it.
Okay.
So that's really cool.
That's
Um,
great. Well, I didn't mean to throw a loop on that, but continue, please. I'm
um,
following along watching your screen. So this is
And with the notch discrimination, there are 20 different notches for the notch discrimination to notch individual items out,
mhm,
um, which is it's good. The ground balance,
mhm,
it's reflective of the AT Max. It's got 175 uh, points of ground balance resolution, so it's going to give you a better ground
mhm.
balance than the traditional ACE ground balance. Um, Another thing is it has 6 modes for detecting. I like the fact that traditionally what most detecting companies has is you have your international version, you have your US version. This one has a US coin version and an international coin version. It's also going to have the relic mode, the custom mode, the jewelry mode, and the zero mode. So 6 great different settings modes that you can run in.
I mean, even some more popular machines at higher levels have to use just either different product lines with different face plates that are built onto those products. Even Garrett's done that in the past with
Yeah.
their international versions, or they have the stickers that you've seen,
Yep.
face plates. So the fact that they were able to program that in is really smart, especially what if you're on travel somewhere? What if someone from overseas that buys this comes to the US for vacation, or people go, a lot of times you have people from the US that go to the UK to hunt. I think it helps for travel.
Absolutely, I agree, Mark. I absolutely agree.
And going back to that, sorry, that faceplate. What is your overall thought on the UI, the user interface, the big numbers? Do you think this is going to be helpful? I know someone was just asking in chat about, is this good for beginners? My mind immediately goes to the big numbers, simplicity. What is your thought on that user interface?
Oh yeah, I think it's great. I've always liked the way that the Garretts are set up. I mean, you look at it, it's pretty easy. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you don't have that many buttons here. You've got 8 buttons, a mode button that's going to select your mode. You got your notch discrimination, a menu button, a ground balance button. Um, you've got your pinpoint, your iron audio, and then you've got your the check/X. That's I guess that's going to be for notch discrimination. So, I mean, it's really easy to use. The numbers are right there. It tells you the depth on it. And
Mm-hmm.
the thing that I like is a lot of people when they're first starting out, they have no idea about tones. They have no idea about these numbers. It's like learning a foreign language. The thing that Garrett does on these, not all detecting companies do, is it's got right across the top. It's got where your iron's going to fall, where your foil's going to fall, your pull tabs, your rings, your coins, and then it even has on your coin mode, it's got 5 cent, 1 cent, 10 cent, 25 cent, 50 cent, $1 coin. So, I mean, how much easier can it get than that? It's telling you, I mean, it's telling you everything you need to know on the machine and makes it simple.
And Carolyn, I know you have a little cursor there. When some of those things that you were just highlighting, there's some people that I think very few, but when you're talking about those coins, can you use that cursor? That's a really important note is Garrett's evolved that little cheat sheet at the top, the static one on the box or on the faceplate, I should say. And then
Mm-hmm.
on where you notch out things, there's the little coins. And using your cursor, you could show our users this new feature as well as that depth indicator. These are big
Yes.
changes.
Yes, it is. It definitely is. I had another detector and I love this feature. It was one of the first detectors that I used, and that was the White's Coin Master GT. And I loved when I was learning the machine that it had, and it kind of guided me. Hey, it's going to be a dime. I mean, it always wasn't, but it gave me an idea. And being a beginner, I think that it's really awesome that they have that on there.
Anything else you notice from the UI here or the screen?
I mean, the raised buttons are
Mm-hmm.
nice.
Yeah.
That's typically what Garrett has done with their detectors in the past, but it is nice that way. I mean, it's really easy to hit.
I think it's going to
Um,
be super easy. I mean, going back to that beginner question, absolutely. This is a mix of being easier for new people to the hobby, but for people that are pros, the experienced detectorist, a great travel detector with saltwater performance, multi frequency. Gosh, I mean, what else do you need at that price point? So,
yeah, I agree. I mean, there's a lot packed into this detector. Definitely.
Z Link.
Z-Link, yes. That's one of my, I like that on the AT Max is being able to, pair my pinpointer to my headphones with the Z-Link
Mm-hmm.
technology.
For a lot of you
So,
that haven't tried that out yet, I was able to kind of test the Z-Link pinpointer right before it was publicly released. And it's such a good feature that you kind of don't realize how good it is until you use it. To have like the MS3 headphones, which are completely wireless, there is a package that's coming out for this machine with MS3
yes.
headphones. The Z-Link pinpointer, having everything cut free, like all those chords, and hearing the sounds of your pinpointer, the fact that they thought of having Z-Link built in was just a really, really great idea because you could see them cutting that feature out of a lower end machine. I'm really happy to see that they incorporated that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I went ahead and I pulled up some of the specs. I mean, we talked about a lot of this with the high resolution ground balance, the 6 modes. Oh, we haven't even mentioned about the rechargeable battery.
Oh, yeah, lithium,
Yep.
right?
Yep, that's right. Um, so that's kind of a big deal because with all most of the, I can't even think of a Garrett that has that doesn't run on batteries. So this is a big
Mm,
step for them going to
yes.
rechargeable. Um, we talked about the iron audio, the five tone audible target ID, the hybrid audio system. Let's see here, 20 pixels of notch discrimination, including 8 pixels for iron. Backlit, volume control. I mean, this is great. It's got everything packed in there. It comes with a 1/4 inch jack for optional wired headphones. And, I think that a lot of these detecting companies are going to the 1/8 inch jack because earbuds, everybody likes to wear their earbuds. And the old A series had the 1/4 inch jack. Yeah, you can get an adapter, but being able just to plug up, if you want to plug up with the earbuds, that's the direction, 1/8. That way they're all interchangeable.
I have a quick interjection question or point again from Patrick. Again, he's has some really good points here. The Apex has more features than the AT series, so AT Pro and AT Max, AT Gold sales should almost stop? Question mark.
I wouldn't necessarily agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
There is still a few things. Like the AT Max it has an all metal mode. This one does not. They are waterproof to 10 feet.
That's right.
That's your limits on the ACE. But if I was a manufacturer, if I was Garrett and I'm looking at this, I'm reinventing the ACE series. It just leaves you to wonder, what are they going to do when they upgrade the AT series? What's going to be included in that?
That's right.
So, for the price and everything, it's a great machine. But there is ways to improve it, just like any detector. That's why they didn't just run the A series before. They packed in more features into the AT Pro. They learned from the AT Pro. They came out with the AT Max to include what the people wanted, what the detectors wanted in the machine.
And
So,
Carolyn, not to interrupt, but we always say this. We talk about detectors being tools, right? And you don't
yes,
use a hammer when you need a screwdriver. So just because this is new technology and new features that are really exciting, I don't think it's going to replace every single situation where an
no,
AT Pro and AT Max, especially, are going to get you better depth. They're going to work better. And
absolutely.
you just mentioned it. There's features on the AT series still that this Apex is not going to have. And a feature of being waterproof, for one, I don't know anyone that want to spend $500 or $400, let's say, and then use it as a paperweight because it's not waterproof.
Right.
So that's a big deal. You made a really good point there.
Absolutely. And I wouldn't have 8 detectors if I didn't, if there was one that would do it all, I would own it. And I'm sure everybody out there would own it, but every detector is going to perform in different ways for different situations.
Well, thank you for that.
No problem. But yeah, I'm really excited. The Viper coil, like I said, the six by 11-inch coil I just like the new design of it. Small, sleek, but it's going to give you that depth that you're looking for. Another
And I have to say, yeah, sorry, you have to watch that video, everybody, because they had some really cool camera shots, right? Comparing the name, the Viper coil, and they had the coil in the grass, almost like slithering. It was just really well done by Garrett. The
Yes.
whole live stream, we didn't talk about that, Carolyn. What did you think of the execution and what they presented today?
I think it was great. I mean, during these times, we're living in a whole different world. We're having to make adjustments. Everybody's making adjustments to their lives, and things are just different. So they had a big reveal planned, and those plans got changed. I think the teaser videos that they came up with, and then following up with the live stream, so everybody could watch it live. You know, showing the videos that they had prepared, speaking with Steve Moore, speaking with Steve. I mean, it was good. It was really well executed. The live giveaways were great. It gave everybody a chance to participate if you pre-registered. I mean, I think that they handled the reveal really in a really cool way, especially faced in these difficult times and having to make the adjustments.
Right.
So, so what are your thoughts, Mike? Mark, I called you Mike. I'm reading as I'm doing that.
I will now be signing off. My name is not Mike. My thoughts were that the execution of the entire live stream was professional, well done. Probably one of the best I've seen for a product launch in the entire industry, the market. the technology they use to keep everyone to the public involved and aware at the same time. There's a lot that goes into that in the back end. And I just applaud Garrett for doing an A+ job at executing that. It's fabulous. I was following along. Their website went up right at the right time. Uh, just no hiccups, and the giveaways. People were really excited. So hats off to Garrett. You nailed it on that whole release. And I did want to say one correction. Patrick made a good point that it sounded like I said that the AT series is going to be deeper and better. Absolutely not. I think to clarify, more importantly, that not one machine can do it all, basically. And you're
Yes.
right. We don't know about the Apex yet. Certainly, I can't make any claims that this machine is going to be at this depth or this. Just more importantly, that every machine's different, and we're really excited to see what that Apex does. And nobody knows, right? Nobody has all the information yet. So I did want to make
Nobody
that
does.
clarification. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, yeah, I'm really excited about it, and I definitely want to get my hands on one.
And going back, Manoa, a little bit, I'm going all over the place. I was in Sardinia for the Mind Lab Vanquish launch, and also tuned in for the Simplex launch. And the thing is, coming from a perspective watching launches, I think that's where I go back to Garrett doing a fantastic job here. Is that we haven't quite seen the level of live streams that we have. We've seen some Facebook Live videos. We've seen some great videos by our competitors, by MindLab, by Nokta Macro. I think you have seen a good job. This was taken to another level with Garrett, and I know it has a lot of people excited. I think
Absolutely.
that's the key here to grow this hobby, grow this industry. We need to get new people excited about this, especially the younger generation. So when you talk about the Apex being delivered at the level it needed to be with those sneak preview videos, with the live stream that used technology, hats off to Brand Live, I think was the service they used. I have to say that's where those comments come from. So.
Absolutely. And when I started with this hobby, I just mentioned that I started with the White's Coinmaster GT. When I walked into this hobby, that machine was about $400. And realistically, I outgrew that machine pretty quick. Um, and the stuff that's coming out on the market now, I wanted to get an AT Pro, but at the time, the AT Pro was still at about $700, and I didn't even know if I was going to like the hobby. Coming in, spending $400 or $500, that's a lot easier, especially with everything that's included with these detectors. So, I mean, it was great. I got the experience of using a variety of detectors and working my way up. But I mean, all three of them are amazing. That have
Right.
just come out. All three of them have their different features, and I mean, it just gets me excited to know if this is what they're doing with the beginner or entry to mid level. What's going to be next for those higher end machines?
And we talked about those two packages with the Apex series. One being a standard package at the price point you had said maybe what 425. I know they posted in
425.
chat
Yeah.
around that. And then what was the second package, if you want to talk about that, and what will it include?
The second package is going to include the MS3 headphones, and with the headphones, it's going to be 492. Around 492, Steve said.
Okay, and so it has the MS3, the coil cover, and I think what we've seen with the other packages like Simplex, like the Vanquish options, that some people they don't need the wireless headphones. Some people actually like that. So I think that was a really good choice by Garrett to have those offerings.
Yeah, I agree.
Someone just posted another question. Have you tested the AT series versus the Vanquish or the Simplex? Oh, this is Patrick again. Man, Patrick's on fire for an in-depth comparison between those units.
I have tested some. I have taken the Simplex. I have taken the AT Pro out. I have compared them side by side, and I mean, the Simplex and the AT, I mean, the Simplex was given the AT a run for its money. I mean, it was a really good detector. I really like using the Simplex. It's so easy to use. Honestly, when I went to use that machine, I didn't even use the pinpoint button. I forgot it had a pinpoint button because it was so easy to pinpoint with. Um, the AT Pro, I mean, it's really easy. I have used the Vanquish, and I've used the Vanquish on the beach in the salt water.
Mm.
And I mean, I was really impressed with the way that the Vanquish held up in that wet sand. I even went out into the surf, kept the control box, from getting wet, went out into the surf with it, and I was pretty impressed with it. Unfortunately, the beach, over by us, everybody hits the beach. There weren't a ton of targets out there. Even one of our friends, well, Debbie was using the 800, and she wasn't finding very much because our beaches get picked clean over here. So, but side by side, I mean, the Simplex, AT Pro, they're both pretty good machines.
That's great. And Mark Hoover would he's so funny. I want one with a single cup coffee maker attached. That would be a killer machine.
Heck yeah, it would be. I'd love to have a coffee on the go, coffee and metal detecting. You can't get any better than that. Great idea,
That's
Mark.
coffee with Kellyco.
There we
Um,
go.
and did we go over the specific specs at the bottom of that page on Garrett, like the frequencies? I know we talked about them at the beginning of the call, and what those frequencies were. I have them up myself. I can read them off, but I think
Yeah.
maybe just going over one big highlight or overall thoughts. I know we have another Apex meeting to get
Yes.
into that we're coming up on the hour, but if you want to summarize that and give your final thoughts, that would be fun.
Absolutely. I mean, it's lightweight, 2.5 pounds. It runs in, you've got four single frequencies you could put it in, which is 5, 10, 15, and 20. You can also run it in multi-frequency and multi-salt. So you could have it set up for your multi-frequency if you're out in the fields, or you could have it multi-frequency set up for the salt water. It's got a new coil design, which is the 6x11, which combined the 8.5-inch coil with the 5x8 coil. So great design. It's got the adjustable audio volume on it, so 8 different levels there. It's got the ground balance, very, very similar to the AT Max, which is huge, being able to manually ground balance the machine. And that's at 175 points of resolution. Um, like they said, this is just reestablishing the Ace series. The Ace has been around for a long time, and
Yeah.
they just made it bigger and better than what they had by listening to everyone. I mean, overall, simultaneous multi-frequency, I mean, that's huge for Garrett. That's huge for the industry.
I think I couldn't have said any better. We're going to have that page up. Please, everybody, keep your eyes peeled for our social posts on Facebook through Kellyco, through Instagram, our website. We're going to be changing the banners around. We're going to have product pages. I want to repeat, we are going to be taking pre-orders, and we're putting more information on that. So make sure you put your spot in line, because I've been through the Equinox launch, the AT Max launch, even
Mhm.
Simplex. And the biggest thing I can say is get your pre-orders in, get in
Yes,
line, and call us up if you have any other questions. That's what we're here for. But stay tuned on social.
absolutely. Well, that about wraps up today's episode. And we will see you guys on Monday morning for a coffee with Kellyco at 9:30 a.m. And be sure to jump on our page and on our social.
All
Cheers,
right.
Mark. Cheers, everybody out
Cheers.
there. Have a
Have a good
great
one.
day.